Hello and welcome back to Bible Wits Bible Corner. Today we're going to continue in Joshua chapter 8, and I will be reading from both translations tonight. But we'll be reading verses 8 through 14, starting with the English Standard Version. And as soon as you have taken the city, you shall set the city on fire. You shall do according to the word of the Lord. See, I have commanded you. So Joshua sent them out, and they went in the place of ambush, and lay between Bethel and Ai, to the west of Ai. But Joshua spent that night among the people. Joshua arose early in the morning, and mustered the people, and went up, he and the elders of Israel, before the people of Ai, and all the fighting men who were with him went up and drew near before the city and encamped on the north side of Ai. With a ravine between them and Ai, he took about 5,000 men and set them in ambush between Bethel and Ai to the west of the city. So they stationed the forces, the main encampment that was north of the city, and its rear guard west of the city. But Joshua spent the night in the valley. And as soon as the king of Ai saw this, he and all of his people, the men of the city, hurried and went out early to the appointed place towards the Arabah to meet Israel in battle. But he did not know that there was an ambush against him behind the city. New Century Version. After you take the city, burn it. See to it. You have your orders. Then Joshua sent them to wait in ambush between Bethel and Ai to the west of Ai. But Joshua stayed the night with his people. Early the next morning, Joshua gathered his men together. He and the older leaders of Israel led them up to Ai. All the soldiers who were with Joshua marched up to Ai and stopped in front of the city and made camp north of it. There was a valley between them and the city. Then Joshua chose about 5,000 men and set them in ambush in the area west of the city between Bethel and Ai. So the people took their positions. The main camp was north of the city, and the other men were hiding in the west. That night Joshua went down into the valley. Now when the king of Ai saw the army of Israel, he and his people got up early the next morning and hurried out to fight them. They went out to a place east of the city, but the king did not know soldiers were waiting in ambush behind the city. Okay, so one thing that I actually enjoy when I read the Old Testament, I haven't mentioned this before, but I'll mention it here and now, is it reads like a narrative. I mean, it is a narrative. It actually happened. We are reading history when we read the Old Testament. But it is very detailed. It just kind of sucks you in, and you can't wait to read the next little bit to see what's getting ready to happen. Now, all that being said, as I said, it's a narrative. It actually happened. God told Israel what they needed to do and how to take the city. So Joshua is setting up the men to do what God has asked them to do. The last order that God gave them, and we'll find out here in the next day or two, or next section or two, how Israel handles this. But we find out that God wants them to completely burn the city. They can take the plunder for themselves when they take the city, but they are told to completely burn it to the ground. So why is that? Well, my theory on this is God does not want them to have anything that can lead them astray to other foreign gods whenever they take the land. He wants that land to be purified so that it can be made holy for him. So that's my theory on that. Now, in today's world, how can we take that and relate it to today? What part of our lives can we completely, metaphorically, I guess you could even say, burn so that we can purify our lives to glorify God? There's several examples of this. In today's modern world, there's video games. There's all sorts of anything technology, if you are focusing on that more than you are God. There's, I'm going to say, the typical drinking, adultery, things like that. What part of your life do you need to burn and purify so that you can glorify God properly? So that's the question I have. I hope you find encouragement in this, and I hope you have a wonderful, God-centered day. Bye.